by Congressman Ted Poe, member of the Foreign Affairs Committee and the House Judiciary Committee. Congressman, great to have you here.
Thank you, Lou.
This has been a terrible week for the United States and this president on the world stage. What can the president do now to make clear what his strategy is, if he's now in possession of one, and articulate a direction for U.S. foreign policy?
The president needs to lead. Being the leader of the free world has some responsibility, and one of those, to lead. And this issue with ISIS, we should have a plan. The president should have a plan. America should know what it is, and ISIS needs to know what it is. We're not sure we got a plan. The president says, well, we want to try to manage this group. What does that mean? Does he want to put them on probation and make them do community service? I mean, what does this manage? ISIS needs to be defeated. Most Americans, I think, agree with that. So, Mr. President, we need a plan. Congress goes back into session, and I think Congress will help him with that plan next week.
A helpful Congress would be helpful for this president, I'm sure. Deputy National Security Advisor Tony Blinken talks about a coalition that would involve Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and others standing up. Can this coalition be effective without Arab states, powerful Arab states in it?
We need the Arab states. Unfortunately, the United States over the last few years has destroyed our relationships with many countries, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, North African countries as well. And now we want to go back to them and say, we need your help. They don't really have a lot of confidence and trust us. But the United States has to take the lead and go after ISIS, strategic airstrikes, arming the Kurds, a few other things.
You know, history often repeats itself. We have gone through from the Persian Gulf War, a true coalition, but 500,000 U.S. troops, to the Iraq War, in which we had a coalition of the willing again. The United States has a natural alliance with NATO, a natural and, if you will, effective alliance, or it has been historically. Why is the United States now suddenly so dependent on coalitions, and does that in and of itself allow the United States to act outside of its natural sphere of influence and its own national interest? In other words, are these coalitions too willing, and is the United States too eager to form them?
The United States doesn't, it appears now, ISIS is a threat to the United States. But the United States says, not so fast, we need to get others involved in this process. That is true. We should get others involved. But meanwhile, we need to protect our own national interest, have these folks come along.
If we believe, Republicans and Democrats, independents, all of us believe, that the Islamic State is a threat to the United States, why in hell should we wait on anybody?
We shouldn't. We shouldn't wait on NATO. We shouldn't wait on the United Kingdom. We shouldn't wait on anyone. We should protect our national interest.
And with that clarity, why do we not understand that the beheading of 2 American citizens, gruesome, repulsive, and angering to every single American, doesn't even come close to tipping the scales with offenses of the state of Iran against the United States, responsible for 1/3 of our casualties in Iraq, and a hegemonic power, at least throughout much of the Middle East. And we don't even respond. We don't speak their name. What in the world are our leaders doing?
But we're not leading. We're not doing anything. People around the world, Americans even, what is our policy? What is our foreign policy? What is our policy toward people like groups like ISIS, the worst group that has ever existed in our lifetime, about killing people? And they enjoy it, and they do it in just terrible ways. We're just waiting. We're waiting. What are we waiting on? Take the lead, protect the national interest, and say we're going after you. No matter where you're not going to hide.
The national interest, as NATO apparently is trying to, if you will, straighten itself out, tighten up, and get ready to meet Vladimir Putin. But all the while, despite the words of protestation to the otherwise, Crimea is in the hands. It's part of the Russian Federation now. And it does not seem that Europe is eager to join a coalition that would engage Vladimir Putin and the forces of Russia.
No, Russia is doing what they want to do. They took Georgia, the world outraged, did nothing. 1/3 of Georgia belongs to Russia now. Crimea, same thing, outraged. We did nothing as the world. West did nothing. Now it's part of Russia. And eastern Ukraine, the same thing is happening, and we're going to protest, and we're not going to do anything. Putin, he is aggressive. He gets away with it. He laughs at the West, and we just do nothing. Those sanctions work. Nothing works.
And in the midst of all of this, as there is so much criticism being hurled against the president for his contradictions, his incoherence, and the absence of a strategy, the Republican House Speaker finds it necessary to talk in the midst of this about immigration reform, which is, I guess, at hand. Your thoughts?
We need to deal with ISIS right now. That should be the talk that's taking place and the action that takes place when Congress goes back into session. Immigration has to be dealt with. It's had to be dealt with for years. But I think ISIS is the issue right now.
Yeah, hardly the proximate issue that ISIS apparently has become. Congressman Ted Poe, it is always good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Likewise, Lou. Thank you.